respecting Manuel's privacy in the past, but we've been married for almost a year now, and we've made zero progress with the children. Frustrating, to say the least.
¿Verdad? Es un poquito extraño que no estaba una prioridad de ti para yo encontrar los hijos antes de como siempre hay excusas. Como tú no quieres hacerlo, entonces explicar más claramente qué está pasando con los hijos.
Esa palabra, empezar a comunicarte con tú como la segunda mamá, ¿ok?
Sufrieron mucho con mi viaje acá a Rochester. Por el momento.
Deflection. Loads and loads of deflection.
You know, when it comes to Manuel and Ashley, I feel like it's very, very simple to why this man is keeping his kids away from Ashley. Why he does not really want to build an actual relationship with Ashley and his children. Because, you know, generally speaking, when somebody is ready to marry someone, that means they're also ready to introduce that person to their kids. In fact, they're ready for that person to have a relationship with their kids. Nothing else but that, because generally speaking, anybody that's a good parent would not want to marry someone not knowing that their children has a good relationship with the person that they're going to marry. Now, why would you keep it a secret? Or why would you be so vague about it, so private about it? And this is where we get into the nitty and gritty. Simply because he has no intentions of being with her for the long term. You know, I mean, look at it this way. Why would anybody protect their kids or would not want their kids to know someone that they are allegedly in love with and somebody that they've now been married to for over a year or nearly a year? Usually it's because they got a plan. And that plan, generally speaking, is, listen, I've come here to get my green card, to get my work visa. And once I get that, I'm gone. I'm out. But look at this here, right? When it comes to Manuel, when you look at his story, he's a man that's been working for God knows how many years to provide for his family, okay, whether that be his kids, the baby mum, his own family, like his mother, okay? Now, here's the thing. Does he have a benefit of coming to America and earning the dollar and then converting it into the currency of Ecuador? Well, then that's the question, right? If he's able to earn more money here and then send it back, well, then obviously there is a benefit that he definitely does have, which therefore does bring the question, doesn't it now? Is he here just to use Ashley? And then that's it. Because really and truly, if he does introduce his kids to Ashley this whole time, and then all of a sudden he still breaks up with her because he knows he wants to, well, then it's been a waste of energy. Otherwise, why is it a freaking secret? But listen, before we get into the rest of what went down in this episode itself in particular here, today we'll be covering, as you see right now, Ashley and Manuel. As soon as we've covered these two, we then move on to the next couple, which will be Nicole and Mahmoud, and then so on. But with that being said, we are on the road to 60k subscribers, so please do hit that subscribe button so you can become a subscriber, you know what I mean, and help us get to that 60 mark. But with that being said, let's carry on and see what else went down with Ashley and Manuel in this episode.
Like, ¿estás escondiendo algo?
Vida personal y yo saber a quién conversar y a quién no conversar.
Yo quiero ser tu esposa, Manuel. Una relación con mi esposo con transparencia lleno.
Delante de mis hijos, ya es estresante para mí, pero Ashley me está presionando para tener información. Muy delicado y no me gusta hablar de ello con nadie.
Figure out what's going on, what's happening. Are you hiding something? Is there more I need to know? So now I'm even more determined to pry.
I mean, look at it this way. Is Ashley in the right to now want to pry? Is she in the right to now want to go behind his back to find out information about him? In some situations, I would have said yes, because she deserves to know. But in this situation, I'm going to say no. Why? Because she chose to marry a man knowing that he had not introduced her to his kids. Even though she did speak about it every now and then, bring it up every now and then, and he pretty much shut down the conversation each and every time, she never really pressed on it the way she should have. Okay? So the fact that she's put herself in this position, the only person that she can look at is herself. You know, she can sit there and blame him and look at him for answers all she wants, and even do what she wants to do. She wants to pry on his thing. She can do that all she wants, you know, go behind his back. But it's not going to change the very simple thing of what about the accountability about your choice in the matter? And that's where it comes down to, and that's what it comes down to. And Ashley's choice in the matter was to marry a man that was keeping her pretty much hidden from his family. And even when there was an effort to even introduce her to the family, he didn't really introduce her to the family like that. But she still chose to continue sleeping with him and married him. And the reason why I added the sleeping part is because she kept using, well, they both kept using intercourse as a way to do what? As a way to forget about their problems and, you know, to fix them, because they thought, oh, as long as we're having a good time feeling the energy between our bodies, we're going to be A-okay. Well, no, that was never the case. And now they are where they are. But hey, whatever Ashley decides to dig up and find out, I'm looking forward to it. But I am quite disappointed because this week's episode, I'm pretty sure we was meant to find out about the 100k debt that she has, unless the preview from last week was just based on what's to come in the season. But with that being said, though, let's now move on to the next couple.
Does that make you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Mahmoud's in America. I can do whatever I want to him. Even ruin a nice
No,
moment.
don't start at the same. Don't running after that.
Rules here, I know how things work. Whereas, like, in Egypt, I don't know, like, how far you can take it. But here, nobody cares, so.
Okay, Nicole and Mahmoud, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this one, hey. Now, we know that when we first saw this couple, they definitely were a couple that had massive differences. One, due to the fact that they were in Egypt and therefore Mahmoud only wanted to stick to the strict rules of his culture. But also on top of that, some people even accuse him of adding other stipulations to his culture that didn't really exist because he just wanted to be extra strict because pretty much he had controlling factors about him. He liked to control his woman, right? But at the same time, we also learned that Nicole had already tried to be in Egypt prior to when we first saw them, but she decided to go back and try again. And because it didn't work again, what happened? They decided to come to the States and give it a try, which is why we are where we are right now. But straight off the bat, they've met at the airport, and straight away Mahmoud is uncomfortable. Straight away, he's feeling like, what's going on here? But why? Well, here's the thing. The problem with Nicole is that now she's in America, as you saw and as she said, okay, she believes and feels that she can now do exactly what she wanted to do this whole time. And that was be able to dress with being able to show skin, because we saw obviously before when she did that in Egypt, Mahmoud was never happy about it. But also on top of that, to have the ability to also show affection, which again, something that Mahmoud was not willing to do or happy about. So those are the things that he stopped her from doing at the time of Egypt, amongst other things, which is why she just said, you know what, I have to come back to the States and this is where we have to give it a try because this is just not working for me. But here's the thing though, the man has just landed, but Nicole has not given him time to adjust to America just yet. Okay, I do feel like she was definitely being overwhelming. I do feel like she was definitely being too much straight off the bat. Generally speaking, if he was a man that was an American man or even a British man or any man that comes from a world the same as her, everything she did was completely fine. But that's not the case. She's dealing with a man that is literally in a cultural shock right now. And she has to be able to allow this stuff to happen slowly. Not just be straight on, babe, like, yo, relax, chill, okay? Slow it down. Okay, that has always been pretty much a little issue there and there. But hopefully that's something that can improve. Now, here's the thing, though, before we continue. Now, we do know that Mahmoud was arrested for DV, and these are charges that were made against him from what we believe to be Nicole. But people are wondering, why is it these two are still in the season? Well, this is where it gets interesting because allegedly the charges have now been dropped against Mahmoud. Now, here's the thing, though. I've had a look. I've known people who have also had a look to see if these charges have been dropped, but so far those charges have not been documented as if they've been dropped just yet. So it is quite so I don't know if there's been a delay in terms of the system showing us that the charges have been dropped, but we can only assume that I guess they have been purely because these two are still in the season. But hey, once I get the proof, I'll definitely be here to let you guys know. You see what I'm saying, okay? But with that being said though, let's see what else went down with these two in the first episode of them being together.
What's this, honey?
That's for, like, when I do listings for the clothes. And
So why not have clothes now?
Because Mahmoud's now in America, and I'm hoping that he can give this his best effort because there's no way that I'm moving back to Egypt.
Now, first and foremost, Nicole makes it abundantly clear that moving back to Egypt is not going to happen. And to be fair, rightly so, because she did try to go to Egypt, I believe, 2 times. And in both times, it just did not work for her, which is why they are now in America. But the other thing that I will add, though, is that this is the other problem with Mahmoud. We know that Nicole right now, her issue is just being too overwhelming. But his issue is having too much of a mouth. He's just arrived and is already making comments about her workplace, talking about these mannequins. Like, bro, relax, chill. It's not that deep. But this is the problem that we've always had with these two. We are dealing with a man that has no chill. Everything with him is literally hot and cold. 1 minute is, next minute is. There's never really a balance. There's never that civil ground. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, which is why these two really and truly don't really have the tools to work, because Mahmoud he doesn't really have much of a character that's in between. You know what I mean? For them to work, therapy would definitely be needed for both of them, to be honest with you. But I think Mahmoud probably needs it just a little bit more. Okay, but also on top of that, the other reason why they won't work is because Mahmoud seems to be very, push off when it comes to the affection, it comes to Nicole always being close to him. But Nicole loves all that kind of stuff. Okay, so really into it, these two have any hope of making this work, I would say that Mahmoud probably definitely needs to go to some type of therapy, whether that be anger management or something like that. And Nicole definitely needs to learn to just slow it down. You know what I mean? Okay, and not be so freaking overwhelming. But nonetheless, though, let's move on to the next couple.
This marriage is going to work and we can be happy together. He just wants me to go home and that's it. I just need to forgive everything, just accept that he doesn't treat me how I want to be treated, accept that he messed up my trust, accept...
When it comes to Sophie, a lot of the times last season we saw Sophie and Rob, many people did assume and think that maybe she was with him for the green card. And that's something that we're definitely going to touch on, obviously when it comes to Sophie and Rob. But for the meantime, let's continue.
That whole amount of time I've been away did absolutely nothing. I know he wants to work things out and I'm glad, but I don't know if I want to.
All right, cool. Let's talk about this. So we know that Sophie, as of last week, confirmed that she has not been with Rob for a while. Okay, she moved out for a few months, and obviously they were meant to meet, which is obviously what they did in last week's episode. And the whole idea of meeting was to be able to, make things better. But here's the thing, though: you two are now married. The moment you get married, okay, is the moment that you are in a position where you are willing to do whatever it takes to make the relationship work. Now, of course, these tools are tools that also are meant to exist before getting married. Otherwise, why do you get married in the first place? You usually get married because you and your partner have this ability, this bond to be able to work things out, okay, and be able to solve things. Simple as that. Otherwise, generally speaking, people then shouldn't really be getting married, nor should they be having kids if they're unable to ever, go through their problems together and solve them together as a team. Okay, remember, a marriage, a marriage or boyfriend and girlfriend is all part of being a partnership. It's all about sort of part of teamwork. Without teamwork, it's pointless. So really and truly, Sophie's decision to move out, for me personally, I question it a whole lot. Why are you moving out? Because if you're moving out, that means you're avoiding fixing the problems that you and your husband have. But again, I'll touch on the whole green card thing as we go through the video.
The reality is, how do you lose your own wedding band? That's the end of the story. Like, how do you lose your own wedding band?
So let's touch on that. So last week we saw her be upset with the fact that Rob was no longer wearing his wedding ring, but the whole time though she didn't even have hers. You know what I mean? And she was, I knew I left it, and I knew you had it. But the thing is though, the whole time that she didn't have a wedding band, was there ever a point where she rang or texted Rob saying, "Hey, I don't have a wedding band. Do you have it by any chance? Hey, I think I may have left it." She didn't mention him one bit. So the question is, while she was too busy out here in her feelings about how Rob didn't wear his one, why? But what were you doing with yours? Like, why did you not try and find yours or ask him where it was? Why was it okay for you to, do your thing while she was not with him without having your wedding ring neither? So it makes you wonder, right? With Sophie, I think, personally, when her and Rob first got together, she definitely was into him, definitely liked him, okay? And she probably thought, hey, let me see how this goes, and maybe I'll end up going to America. Because obviously America was obviously her idea, right? Fantastic. But then obviously Rob messed up with the whole infidelity situation. Now, since then, Sophie had every right to walk away. Why did Sophie not walk away? That is the question. And in my humble opinion, the reason why Sophie didn't walk away is because she was like, you know what? I've already chosen to be here. No. She's I've already chosen to be with this man. And also I saw myself moving to America. So you know what? I'm just going to ride it out until I eventually get my green card. That is a possible chance. Because really and truly, if I really think about, the average British woman, not many would tolerate a man that is going to be unfaithful. Some may do it, but for the most part, they won't. And if they do it, it's usually because there's a purpose behind it. That purpose could change. One could be maybe because that person that they're with has mentally really messed them up, so they feel like they can't leave him. And one could be because they see a benefit where, well, he still pays for everything, so whatever, you know what I mean? It varies on why they may stay. And to be fair, the reasons that I gave are quite international anyway. But generally speaking, there has to be a benefit of why they're staying. And I do start to feel now as if she only stuck around to be able to get to the States. But let's continue though, because
Even though things ended really badly last night and I stormed off, Rob reached out to me this morning asking if I can have a chat with him about moving back in. But I do know that, like, I can't keep running away.
Behaviour with this online cheating, the secret texting, they did it multiple times on you. You're literally...
Yeah, but I don't know if he has an addiction. I think he just likes attention from people.
Just because his drug of choice, for want of a better word, is sex and porn or whatever it is, it's the same behaviour and all that, and I don't want to see you go through that.
Now, let's also talk about Sophie's mother. How is she still in the States? I mean, I know that if I came to the States now, I'm only able to get a visa, and that only lasts up to 3 months. Now, I don't know how long the mum's been in the States, but let's look at it this way. The mum is now in the States, and she's now got a man in the States. Doesn't that just feel a bit ironic? Daughter finds a man, moves to the States. Mum, we know, can't really be without her daughter, and all of a sudden that she's now got a man, and she's now also in the States with her man. So I am very curious to find out if the mum has plans of now marrying this new guy, or if she's already there on some sort of visa that involves spouse or K1, I don't know. But she's there with somebody. So I do really wonder. I really do wonder, because generally speaking, the mum should have been in the UK right now, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that she hasn't flown back to the UK and then flown back to the States again. Obviously, yeah, that's something that she would have done, because I know the last one, she was on the video call, which must have meant that she was in the UK at the time. But either way, the mum now being in the States and now having an American man as well, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the mum on her own little spin-off shows at some point, to be honest with you. Now, here's the thing. Right now, there's a rumor that apparently Sophie and Rob are no longer together. Okay, allegedly purely because they are actually not following each other right now. And I will make a stupid video about that anyway. But because of that information, it does make you wonder something, doesn't it? Something very, very simple. Oh, no, not wonder, sorry. So with that being said, rumor has it that Sophie is now allegedly currently filming for the next season of The Single Life. Now, I don't know how much truth is in that, but once I find a little bit more information, I will make a separate video about that anyway. But either way, though, I do start to feel more than ever right now that Sophie is only really here because she just wants to be in the States, not because she loves and cares for Rob. Because really and truly, if you love and care for somebody, why are you not still living with him? And also on top of that, she also said that, I don't even know if I really want to be with him. Come on, let's open our eyes. The obvious is the obvious. But nonetheless, though, we now move on to the next couple. It's a madness.
Traveled to China, Kobe called me and said he found one white lady at the nightclub. Then later on, Kobe told me that the white lady is pregnant for him. He told me that he was getting married to Emily. I found it very difficult. It will be difficult for you to understand their own culture, because you know us in Cameroon, we have our own culture. Movies, we see how white women behave, they're very bossy. That all of us, what we are wishing is to see the character of Emily. It was Kobe.
All right, boom. Last week I spoke about how the matter of fact, when it comes to Kobe and Emily, the only reason they're together is because they had a one-night stand and she got pregnant. The friend obviously pretty much confirms that right here, or pretty much obviously repeats pretty much what I said last week, right? And what we knew. And even the friend was still a bit like, but you're still going to move to America for this woman? You don't even know who she is. But obviously Kobe was like, listen, she's my woman, she's got my kid, so it is what it is. And listen, really and truly, has it worked out for the best? I'm going to be nice and say, yes, it has. Even though they are still living in mommy and daddy's freaking basement, it has worked out for the best because they are generally in love. I don't question how they feel about each other, to be honest with you. Kobe doesn't give me vibes of somebody that is not in love with Emily, you know what I mean? And Emily doesn't necessarily give me vibes as if she's not in love with him. Do you know what I mean? She seems to be loving life and enjoying what she's got. Obviously being able to be a stay-at-home mum, while obviously he goes out and works and whatnot and comes back home. And he obviously now has 3 beautiful kids that he obviously loves, and they've got a family that they're building on, which is good. So to be honest with you, their relationship may not have started the way I would like a relationship to start, but it's worked for them. So kudos for them, right? But this season here, obviously, we're now going to find out, obviously, how things are going to be this time they're in Cameroon. Because before, when we met these two, this was based on Kobe coming to America. And obviously, we saw how his life was when it came to adapting to Emily's family and also adapting to an American woman. And it definitely wasn't easy because, just like the friend said, Emily's definitely got that little bit of arrogance behind her, and she definitely has that bossy side to her as well. Things that, again, like I said last week, isn't something that is necessarily known or encouraged when you come from an African country. You see what I'm saying? Okay, and obviously in this situation, it is Cameroon. And to be fair, I got a bone to pick about this because before they flew, they were like, yeah, we're going to Africa, and I'm like, you go to Cameroon? Sorry, I just have this personal issue where there's a lot of people in this world that generally think that Africa is a freaking country when it's a freaking continent. So I really wish if Africans and old people that whenever they actually come to an African country, they actually say they're going to that country. So it just bothers me, man. It's like, for example, nobody says, hey, I'm going to Europe. You say, no, I'm going to England. No, I'm going to Italy. I'm going to Spain. I'm going to Germany. You know, I'm going to freaking Europe. You know what I mean? Even when people go to the States, to be honest with you, usually say, yeah, I'm going to go to Chicago. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I said, hey, I'm going to go over, I'm going to New York. You know what I mean? And that's why so many people think that Africa is a freaking country. It's a continent. Africans do better and everybody else do better too. But anyway, let's just continue. Just wanted to rant about that one.
This is very foreign to us. We've never had this experience.
It's the same thing like when I first moved over to America, everybody's eye was on me. So I had to,
My favorite part about Cameroonian clothing is definitely like the bright colors and the patterns. I like to embrace the culture of my husband.
Honestly, so far, I've had nothing but respect for Emily this season so far. I mean, it's only 2 episodes in, but I'm enjoying her energy towards, obviously, her energy this season just seems so much better than before, which is nice to see.
As beautiful as these Cameroonian clothes are, there's part of me that feels a little disingenuous being up at their house and not knowing anything about their culture. I just want to be one big, happy, blended family, but I'm worried that they won't accept me and they'll disapprove of this marriage.
I love that energy. I love the fact that she's worried because it means that she's hopefully put herself in this mindset where she's willing to do what it takes to make the family happy, okay? To make the family obviously, like her and to make sure that both families can be blended well. Because that is something that if you ask me this question, the season that these two are on, do I see Emily going to Africa, or sorry, going to Cameroon and I just did going to Cameroon and, being this person, blah, blah, blah. I would have said, hell no. I can see her going there and everybody disliking her because she's going to have this arrogance, this attitude that, it's not going to be nice to witness, blah, 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 blah. But it's nice to see that she's in a position mentally where she's willing to, make sure that everything works. Now, whether or not that's going to obviously happen throughout the season, we don't know because obviously the season's only begun. But I really do hope to see more of a positive storyline when it comes to Emily and Kobe this season rather than seeing a more negative one. Because the first time we saw them, it was definitely a negative experience, obviously watching them. So far it's looking better. And let's be real, there are some couples from 90 Day that generally speaking, they're probably really happy off camera. But whenever they film, some of them start to act as if they're unhappy, to be honest with you. And I do feel like this couple is a couple that generally is happy off camera. So I really hope that we can see more of that throughout the season, especially after seeing them on 90 Day Diaries, to be honest with you. Seeing them on that season, seeing them on that little segment they had, they definitely look like a couple that have come a very, very long way and are doing amazing things. Of course, they're still going to have minor issues here and there, which we will obviously mostly see throughout the season. But I hope the issues that they do have are going to be realistic issues that we can actually speak about and obviously give our own opinions on, rather than being things that are not realistic and we're just like, it just feels like they're just making you do this. Do you see what I'm saying? But either way, though, let me know your thoughts and your opinions. And now we're going to move on to the final couple, I believe. Yes, let's get into it.
I haven't told him about the fertility issues that I faced in the past. I'm very nervous about telling him because he had baby fever.
Yesterday, this is the first ovulation day. We accomplished the goal, 1 fish. So today, that is the next day of my ovulation, 2 fish.
Why 2 fish?
Because we have to make love twice. That you have to do it 4 times because it's a higher day. It's super important.
I'll need my blue pills that day.
So for 6 days, we have to make love 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. It was very hard for me to conceive my...
Boom. Listen, we need to talk about this one real quick, okay? First and foremost, obviously, I'm not a woman. Obviously, I don't know too much about, pregnancy, how all that works. But I'm not buying this. No, because, Jasmine, we know that she loves intercourse. She loves it. But we also know that Gino is whatever about it, okay? All right? Which is definitely a weird balance for them to have. So for me personally, I do feel like Jasmine is taking this opportunity to try and convince Gino that they need to be intimate way much more mostly for her benefit rather than the benefit of them actually having a child. That's how I took this scene itself in particular, because really and truly, I'm just sitting there thinking most guys would be happy with that, but boy. But let's just continue. It's funny stuff.
My son, JC. Make love 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. It was very hard for me to conceive my son, JC. It was very hard. Something like that. I even had to go through hormonal treatment. I always knew from the very beginning of our relationship that Gino wanted to have kids,
but I'm thinking now that, hey, I struggled with fertility before. I'm scared that it will affect also my relationship with Gino.
Isn't it fascinating that each time we see Jasmine, there's always new information that we're learning? Not always, but you know how like she always brings some new information. So she's known that Gino wanted kids this whole time, but then she made it clear that she did want kids at one point, even though she knew he wanted kids. But then is like now like, okay, do you know what? We will try for a kid. But then now talking about how she's obviously nervous about how this may ruin their relationship because it ruined her past relationship. There's a lot of inconsistency in what she's saying because you see, if she was worried about her not being able to have kids was going to ruin her relationship with Gino, well then therefore should have never told Gino to begin with that she didn't want kids, because that's something that she definitely said in their previous season. And then obviously in this season she then changed her mind, ironically. Honestly, how this woman hasn't been tested for something like freaking bipolar or something blows my mind. That's not me diagnosing her. I'm just saying she may need to go and get checked up because the way her mind switches left and right, up and down, east to west, south to north, like, you know what I mean? Like west to southwest, east, west, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, like, girl, what's going on? like, just keep up, you know? What's going on? But let's continue. But it is a very difficult thing for a woman to go through a process where it is hard for them to conceive. When a woman wants to have kids and it is hard, I can't imagine how, you know, how annoying and how sad that information is, you see what I'm saying? But the good thing is at least Jasmine did say, well, for me personally, I learned something new. I learned that if a woman is struggling, then she can do what she did by taking that thing that allows her to, you know, be more highly to get pregnant.
I have to receive daily an injection. It was very traumatic for me.
They have kids here just like Jasmine does, but right now I don't have the money to pay for a lawyer to do the paperwork for her children.
Now the processing times is...
That's it, the injection, my apologies. But I'm going to go back and look a bit here because this is where it gets interesting. First and foremost, my man left his job. And now he's... I don't know how you can leave a job and then complain about money.
They have kids here just like Jasmine does, but right now I don't have the money to pay for a lawyer to do the paperwork for her children.
Now the processing times is going to be, on average, 8 to 12 months. You have everything together and address all the issues, is going to make sure that everything goes a lot quicker. So, Gino, were both the kids listed on the fiancé petition?
I did not have the children on the K-1 petition. The idea I thought was to bring Jasmine over and then have her children follow. Can I put both her children on adjustment of status and file it with her children on there?
That status allows you to adjust a status. You have to have one before you can adjust it.
You know, the grand scheme of things that Gino messed up big time because Jasmine for seasons upon seasons was begging him to get a lawyer so therefore they can do the process properly and therefore the process could be quicker. But he refused to pay for a lawyer because he didn't want to spend any more money and he wanted to do everything by himself, which is completely fine. But guess what, buddy? You've now messed up. I mean, there's one point where the lawyer even mocked him. He said, did Google not tell you that? And that is this part here when he talks about what type of visa you needed to apply for that also involves, you know, being able to bring kids. And, you know, obviously because Gino didn't do that, the lawyer was like, oh, so I guess Google didn't tell you that, right? And to be fair, the lawyer had every right to freaking mock him because, you know, he should have really gone to a lawyer, you know what I mean? He didn't have to go for a lawyer for the whole process, but he could at least gone on for advices here and there, you know what I mean? But at the same time, though, to be honest with you, if I'm in this position here, would I get a lawyer or would I want to just do it all by myself? To be honest with you, I would probably, if I'm trying to rush it and I'm trying to find a loophole, I would get a lawyer. If I'm not trying to rush and I'm not trying to find a loophole, then obviously I'd probably do it all by myself, this is what I'm saying. But in this situation, Gino should have definitely got a lawyer because children were involved as well. And he definitely should have at least gone through it once he found out how the kids part works. He didn't do that, he neglected that bit. So yeah.
Can't adjust it. She has a status, the K-1 status, that allows her to adjust or change it to a green card status. You want to include everyone on that petition, get that approved, and then later when they're ready, you just contact the National Visa Center and say, hey, we're ready to go. It's going to be impossible to, you know, bring them over. Looking at the immigrant petition and then getting the immigrant visas to bring them over. We charge about $5,000, that includes your filing fees, to represent you for the next 12 to 14 months. It's going to take a little bit longer though. Hopefully it goes sooner, but it could be 1.5 to 2 years.
Ooh-wee. Hear that information and hurt Jasmine. You know it did. God damn. You know the thing that I really dislike the most about this scene is how inconsiderate Gino was with his emotions.
If I would have had both on the petition, we would have been good.
Absolutely.
How am I going to tell you that it might take about 2 years to come here?
So Jasmine is now being put in a position where she feels that it may be better, okay, maybe better for her to just up and leave and, you know, go back to Panama and be with her children, because, you know, being in a position where her kids are now going to be estranged from her for about nearly 2 years, that is not healthy. And the saddest thing about it is that that's with the help of a lawyer as well. Okay. So it seems to me as if Jasmine has choices to make. I'd say one of them is to either go back to Panama and just, I guess, be there all the time with her kids, which obviously isn't necessarily something that's possible per se, because obviously, even though the lawyer said that yes, she can leave the States to go back to Panama and see her kids, she still can't come back with them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and so it's still a bit sticky, isn't it? Or two, I guess she just commutes back and forth as much as you can. I mean, I'm pretty sure the kids will be able to come over to see her every now and then, though, on like a visa of some kind, maybe a visitor's visa. I'm not too sure, but obviously that's something that was spoken about. But the main thing is that Gino is the one that's messed up here, because he thought he could do everything by himself, you know, and he pretty much was selfish about the situation. And to be fair, Gino does say at the very beginning, and I do remember, I believe it was around about this mark here, and that's it. Well, I hope that I put this into the video, to be fair.
They have kids here just like Jasmine does, but right now I don't have the money to pay for a lawyer to do the paperwork for her children.
Yeah, I seem to have missed that bit out, but Gino does add on there about how also, you know, he hasn't got any money. Obviously, that they've gone to see a lawyer just to get free advice, but also at the same time, they won't be getting a lawyer because they've just paid for the wedding, and also they are now trying for a baby. So obviously, Gino has plans to put his desire to have kids financially above getting Jasmine's kids to the States. Here's the thing. Jasmine and Gino always have a problem with with many things. But one of the main things is communication. Honestly, he's doing one thing, she's doing another thing. I mean, listen, it is going to be sad to see if Jasmine is obviously unable to see her kids for at least up to 2 years. You know what I mean? But at the same time, though, that is up to 2 years with a lawyer. If they're unable to get a lawyer, then it could easily be longer than that. But I guess, you know, we'll soon find out what's going to happen. But I will say this, though, even though this is only episode 2, this already tells me that we are probably going to see Jasmine and Gino back again for another season at some point. Because if anything, I doubt the whole kid thing can be resolved throughout this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they drag the whole kid storyline into another season with these two. So we might as well just buck on and we might as well just live with the reality that they're probably going to be for the following season. But with that being said, though, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I will say this as well. So far, we have not been advertised when it comes to Angela and Michael. My thoughts and opinions on it is that I wouldn't be excited too soon to think that those two are not going to be a part of the season, because as of late in the last 3 or 4 seasons, last 2 to 3 seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, I have noticed that there's been some couples that have been brought into the season halfway through. So it could easily be a case of where their relationship may still be a part of this season, but they may not be put in it until further notice. So let's just not, you know, get too excited about Mike and Angela not being it just yet. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts and your opinions down below, and we can most certainly talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You're on the road to 60K subscribers by the end of April. And yeah, peace.